Alrighty, I wanted to share here. I'm working on a couple of bags. This is a vinyl. Here's the front. Show you here, right side up. Here's the front, and here's the back with the pocket. This is the Elaine bag. Look how cute the lining is. I've top stitched it with the matching vinyl. This is going to be a slip pocket, and you know, then I knot it so you can't see the back stitching. I think I've done a video on that. Let me know if you want to see any of that. Okay, so this is a situation that I'm sure comes up for all of you. Now, we're getting ready to do the bottom, and I go to line the bottom up, and you notice how I don't even know if I discussed this. I place the lines of all my seam allowances. I've got a seam guide on my sewing machine. You can't see it. I'm over here marking, showing you. But I go ahead and mark all my seam allowances. I don't know if you all do it, but it just makes it so much faster and easier. So anyway, I'm going here and I'm lining up my bottom. I'm going to watch it match up to this one. I think it was the other one. Anyway, I'm going to line up my bottom. This one lines up. It didn't line up to this one. I am going to line up there it is. My bottom, let me go to this one because it was this one that didn't work. Bear with me. Okay, yeah. You see how I line up this side, go across, and you see how this doesn't line up? We're about 1/4 of an inch off. That's not going to work. So the first thing I do, don't start cutting, is I take my front and my back, and I first see if these two match. And these two do match, okay? So these are okay. So this piece is too big for these two. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to take both of these together and I'm going to line them up. You can even clip one side here. And I'm going to line them up to see how they line up and see where the problem lies. And again, these are really close. But again, you see it extends. So we're going to measure that it extends approximately 1/4 inch too long. So when you run into that, all you need to do is cut down your piece. So this piece I'm going to cut down 1/4 inch. Fortunately, I have enough right here, so I got some to play with in this. If not, I'll peel it back a little bit. But that's what I'm going to do, and that's all we really do if we have mismatched pieces. But it's so important to determine which piece is mismatched. If it was one of these pieces, then we have to resize these pieces. You don't want to just go in and sew them if they don't line up, because it's just a mess. So then on my other bag, I'm going to have to see the same thing to make sure all the pieces line up, because you don't want to be sewing pieces together when they don't line up. You want them all to line up evenly. That's why I always preach measure twice, cut once. I don't know why these. Oh, well, clearly it was something I did in the seam allowances with my great measuring. So it's probably because both of these are, oh, look at that. Maybe not. Maybe I cut one. See? It's just a little larger. So it could have been my cutting. It could have also been when I was actually sewing. Look at that. That came in. Look how much difference that is when I came in there. if I did it on 2 of them. No, I don't know. It could be sewing, it could be whatever. But these are both the same size, so I know I'm talking too much. Yeah, these both match, so that's all that matters. So that's all you do. You want the final product all to line up and match, though. You just have to make sure, though, and remember, if you're making adjustments on the top, that your lining also has to make adjustments so that all the pieces line up and match. I hope that helps. That's my short clip for today. Real quick, like, on that 1/4 inch, since I already punched the holes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shave off 1/8 of an inch on each side. Because if I just take a 1/4 inch off one side, then my purse holes would be off balance. And I just noticed I need to punch another hole in the middle. Isn't that great? See, these things happen for a reason. I need to put another hole in the middle. Perfect. So anyway, 1/8 of an inch off each side if you've already punched holes. So that's that. Okay, and I have another situation. I got really lucky on this. I've now put the lining on this bag, and this is where another area where we have problems is oftentimes the lining is bigger or smaller than your bag. I'm going to talk about different ways to install the lining, but right now I'm just going to talk about lining fit. So if your lining is too big, I always start by connecting the side seams, and then I match the centers and go from there. This one fits perfectly. But if it's too big, the gist of it is that you have to adjust it. You're gonna have to figure out how much too big it is. And I take the pinch test, grab my ruler and measure it. And you wanna do it equally on each side so that it's balanced. So say it's like a 1/4 inch off, you just take it in 1/8 on each side. So that's what you would do. And then you refit it and put it back together, okay? Now, if it's too small, then you're gonna have to let the seams out on each side. I know it's a pain, but that's how you have to make the adjustments for the lining, okay? And if it's so out of whack that you don't have this, this is a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and that's why I don't even trim the seam allowance on a cotton, because this isn't that much bulk really. Notice I have pressed them open. Really, this isn't a lot of bulk. I do trim them off the exterior because this is vinyl, so the bulk isn't in the exterior, but this is not a lot of bulk to me, so I have fabric to play with, and that's what I do here. So, yeah, so that's what I do. And that's how it's done. That way you can adjust any changes there for the lining. And it's a wrap. So, the moral of the story with getting things to fit is really try to do your best in cutting things out, and then marking and trying to hit it on the line. I mark everything and try to sew as best I can. But nobody's perfect. And so when you're putting things together, just remember what I said. Don't go in and cut, because I've gone in and cut things and realized, oh, it's supposed to be like that. So just go in and be real careful. When you're cutting, remember that you want it symmetrical. So just remember what I pointed out. Make it even on each side. measure twice, cut once. Always go back in and check yourself. Same with the top and bottom. Just double check, because if you have strap connectors involved, you don't want to cut too much off the top and things of that nature. Just always really think about what it is that you're doing and how it affects the other parts of the bag. It's usually small things. So as for easing things in, it usually doesn't work, and then you get puckers and all that kind of thing. So it's best to just trim and make sure that things work out. But whenever you're trimming, just take in consideration the big picture and how it's going to affect moving forward and how it affects the other measurements. So I hope that helps. And I've got a list, and I really like your input. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing some things on my domestic as well. And we're working into spring, thank goodness, and summer bags. So you'll be seeing some new stuff there. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Talk to you soon.